everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making these super fun bunny ear headbands. This is so fun and inspired by the Snapchat filter, actually, that has bunny ears. There's all different kinds of bunny ears all the time on that silly app. So I just really wanted to make something super fun and spring-like, and Easter is, very soon, and we're also into spring now, so I wanted to do something fun for spring. And what better way to showcase some fabulous bedazzled bunnies? So I'll get into the supplies we need for this project, and then we'll get into making this one right here. I made this one as my prototype, and then this one I'm going to demonstrate how to make on camera today. So big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing the yarn today. I'm using 3 yarns in this project. Our main color is the tan color here. This one is called Buff. And then for the inside of the ears, for the one I'm going to demonstrate today, it's called Aruba C, but the purple one that I have made off camera is called Pale Plum. So this is a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. It is a size 4 medium yarn, which is worsted weight, very similar to an Aran yarn, actually. So if you don't get Red Heart Super Saver where you live, you can find an Aran yarn equivalent. Is just an acrylic yarn that you can use. So big thank you to Red Heart Yarns, though, for providing this yarn. Also, I added a cute little tuft of fur for the little cottontail design here, and that's just fun fur. It's just in white, but you can use any color you want for that little tuft of fur, or you can just opt out to having that. So that is just a cute little detail. Also, other supplies you're going to need is obviously a headband. I'm using these types of headbands today. This is just a plastic headband with little teeth inside. It's just from the dollar store. But you can, use a thicker headband or any size headband that you would like to use. So that's just a plain headband there. Then you're going to need a little bit of tacky glue, not much, on the edges of these, and I know you can't really tell because it dried clear, but on the edge, try to focus there. There we go. On the edges of these headbands, I just glued down so that this doesn't slide off, because your stitches can slide off of your headband, so I glued the edges down there. And I am also using, for crocheting, an eye-sized hook. Now this crochet hook is super fabulous. I use them in all my tutorials. You can get these crochet hooks at the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. I know a lot of you have been asking me, that is such a cool hook, where'd you find it? I got it from the Etsy shop, Would Be Fancy. So make sure you check out that shop. You can get your handles. These hooks are fixed in there, and they are ergonomic, hand-carved, handcrafted. They just fit so perfectly in the palm of your hand. And you can crochet for long periods of time and make something super fabulous like these. So today's crochet hook size is an I 5.5 millimeter. You're also going to need a scissor to cut a bunch of yarn, obviously, and a yarn needle to sew in some ends. And then some extra supplies you're going to need is some floral wire, and I don't have any more left, but you can use floral wire that are stems as well, and I do show you in the video tutorial that we are crocheting with a stem, working around the whole ear, attaching the front and the back pieces. So I know you can't really see, you can kind of see there's green in here. A little bit. They're like green stems inside, in between the stitches here. You can kind of see, not really. But later on in this tutorial you will see the stems, but I don't have any more, and I used them in the tutorial already. So that is worked around the ear inside. So I'll show you those later in the tutorial, but I have this floral wire as well that I'm going to be using in the inside, just to make sure that these are, bendable and usable and everything. Then we're going to need some transparent thread here, because we are going to sew on some beads, which is another thing you're going to need, is some bedazzling jewels. So if you want to add some beads to your ears, you can use plain beads or no beads at all, and not have to use, thread or a needle as well, because we will be sewing this with a needle and this transparent thread with these beads. So those are some more supplies that you will need in this project. I think that's all the supplies supplies you're going to need. All of these supplies are all listed in the description of this video, so you will be able to find where to get this yarn, where to get this hook, where to get all these supplies to make these cute little headbands. So make sure you check out those links if you don't know where to find them, or if you want the brand names or things like that. Just check out the links in the description of this video in the materials you will need section. And for other sizes, I don't have other sizes available because I get that frequently asked quite a bit. How can I make this in a different size? This is the only size available, and this will fit an adult or child. So any child or adult. But I'm sure if you found baby headbands like this, you could make baby size as well. So very simple to adapt the pattern. So also if you wanted to make it smaller, you could use a smaller size hook, maybe a G hook, which is 4 millimeters, or an I hook, which is 5 millimeters. So you can play around with the pattern if you want to make it smaller. But these are super fun for any child or adult. So those are all the supplies you need today. Before we begin, like I said, check out the links in the description of this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. Our subscribers number is soaring, so big thank you to everybody who is supporting YARNutopia. You guys are so wonderful. We couldn't do this without you, and we love doing these crochet tutorials for everybody. And also check out my Facebook and Instagram, and make sure you're following me on both platforms. Check out my Snapchat. I'm YARNutopia on Snapchat, so you can see behind the scenes clips of what we do here at YARNutopia headquarters, aka my home. And yeah, big thank you to my dad back there for filming this tutorial. So now let's just get started and make these cute little bunny ear headbands. Alright, so we're going to start out with the main color, or the front of the ears color, but all the ear pieces are made exactly the same. So we're going to start out by making a slip knot. So put your short end over the long end, then fold this down, and then pull this through right here and pull tight. And there's a slip knot. Insert your hook, and we can start. So let's start out by chaining 18. So yarn over and pull through. There's 1. Yarn over, pull through. 2. Here's 3. I won't make you watch me chain all 18. So just keep chaining until you have 18 chains, and then I'll come back and we'll go on to row 1. Alright, so this is what your chain should look like. Now in the second chain from the hook, we are going to put a single crochet. So the loop on the hook isn't a chain. We're going to count 1 and 2, this chain right here. And what I personally like to do is turn my chain toward me like this and work in these back ridges here. You see all these back ridges? I like to work in there. So in the second chain, here's 1, here's 2. Go into that one right there. Then yarn over and pull through. And then yarn over and pull that through both of those loops on the hook. And that's a single crochet. Now we're going to single crochet into the next 3 chains as well. So go into this next one here, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. There's our next one. Go into this next chain here and make another single crochet, and this next one here, single crochet. So you should have 4 single crochets in a row there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we are going to half double crochet into each of the next 6 chains. So yarn over on your hook, go into the next chain, then yarn over and pull that through the chain, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that is a half double crochet. So that was 1. So going into the next, yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. There's 2. Here's 3 and 4. Here's 5. And this next one is 6. Awesome. So you can see that the height of the stitches is getting taller. So now in the next 6 chains, we are going to put double crochets. So in each of these next 6 chains, yarn over, go into this next chain right here, then yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over again and pull through those last 2 loops. And that is a double crochet. So it's a little bit taller now. So we're going to do that 6 times. So that was 1, yarn over, go into the next chain, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And there's our second one. Yarn over, here's going into the next chain is our third one. Here's number 4. And next one is 5. And then this next one is 6. And you should have 1 chain left on your row right there. So in this very last chain, we are going to make a series of stitches. We are going to put 3 double crochets in there. So yarn over, go into that chain, make 3 double crochets. So there's 1. Yarn over, go back into that last chain there. Here's 2 and 3. And after you have 3 double crochets in that same chain, we are going to chain 1. So yarn over, pull through. Okay, this is the top of the ear here. Now what we're going to do, you can see I'm turning my work around like this. So it's turning upside down. And now what we're going to do is work along this foundation row here, okay? So in this very last chain that we're still working in, we just chained 1 here. We have 3 double crochets, chain 1 in there. We are going to put 3 more double crochets in that same chain. So there's actually a series of 6 stitches in that last chain. So 3 more double crochets here. So it's 3 double crochet, chain 1, and 3 double crochet in that last chain. So now you can see I'm turning this upside down. You can see this very next stitch right here. We are going to put a double crochet into the next 6 stitches. And what I'm also going to do is crochet over the top of this straggler here, this loose end. So what I'm going to do is yarn over, go into that very next stitch right here. Okay, hold this straggler down on the row, and then yarn over and pull through so that wraps that little loose end in there. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Just like that. So there's 1. Going into the next stitch, here's 2. These are double crochets now. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3. Going into the next stitch, we're at number 4. And you can see I'm crocheting over the top of this loose end here. So it's hidden, I don't have to sew it in later. That's 5. And this next one is 6. So we have 6 double crochets in a row. Basically doing opposite of what we did on the opposite side here. So this is what it looks like so far. So now we're hitting the half double crochet section. So these next 6 stitches are half double crochets. So that's what we're going to do, is half double crochet into the next 6 stitches. So there's 1. So just yarn over, go into the next stitch. Right there, yarn over and pull through. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There's 2. Here's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we should have 4 stitches left. We are going to single crochet in each of the last 4 stitches. So just go in, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so there's 1, next stitch is 2, next stitch 3, and next stitch is 4. Awesome, so that was row 1. So we went all the way around, so this is what your piece should look like at this point, going around, up, and then around there. So at the end of row 1, you should have 38 stitches and then this 1 chain 1 space here. So if you want to count back, you should have 38 stitches. Now, going on to row 2, we are going to chain 1, so yarn over, pull through 1, turn your work around, and now we're going to work opposite going up this way. So we're going to single crochet into these first 4 stitches, and this first stitch is right here. Okay, this first, where we chained up 1, we're going to single crochet into this first stitch here. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's the first stitch. Going into the next 3 here, we're going to put a single crochet in each one of those. 1, 2, and 3. Fabulous. So you should have 4 single crochets to start. Now we are going to half double crochet into the next 6 stitches. So yarn over, go into this next stitch here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that's 2, here's 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Awesome. So you can see the shape is getting from small to bigger. So now at this point we are going to work with double crochets to make even taller stitches. So let's put a double crochet in each of the next 8 stitches. So yarn over, go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1, here's 2, next stitch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you should have 1 more stitch left before the chain 1 space right here. So there's this 1 stitch left. We are going to put 3 double crochets all in that same stitch. So yarn over, go into this next stitch right here, right before the chain 1 space, and put 3 double crochets in that stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so all 3 of those stitches are in that 1 stitch. Then we're going to chain 1, so yarn over, pull through. We're going to skip over the chain 1 space here and hop to this next stitch right here. And we're going to put 3 double crochets into that stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Then we are going to do opposite what we did on this side here. So we're going to double crochet in the next 8 stitches. So I'm going to go a little faster here. 1, next stitch 2, next is 3, here's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then once you have those 8 done, we are going to work with half double crochets. And in the next 6 stitches, we are going to half double crochet. So yarn over, go into this next stitch here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So there's 1, next stitch is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you should have 4 stitches left, and those are going to be single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is fasten off. You should have 42 stitches at the end of row 2. So if you want to count 42 stitches plus the chain 1 space right there. So now what we're going to do is chain 1 and cut our yarn. Now if you are making the back side, you want to cut a long strand because we'll use that for sewing later. But if you're making the colored side, the front side of your ear, we're going to just cut the yarn short. And then just pull it through that chain 1 and pull tight, and that fastens it off, okay? So now what I need you to do is make 3 more of these, but 1 more in color, and then 2 for the back side, which I have one of these done already. So I'm just going to show you how to make one ear, and then you'll make your other one on your own. So I have these 2 are exactly the same, okay, but this one is for the back side and this one's for the front side. So we're going to flip these so you can see the stitches. If you want to see which side is the front and which side is the back, what you'll see is these stitches right along the edge here. If you look at your work, if you lay it flat and look at your work, and you can see these stitches right here. Let me get my little needle here. So you can see these are like side V's right here. You can see them on this side, but when I flip this around, oh, they're gone. So this is the back side, so you can't see those V's anymore. If you flip it again, you'll see there they are right here, So this is the front of your work, okay? So we're gonna have the front facing outward. So we're gonna put this side on this side and we're gonna flip this one because you can see this is the right side here. We're gonna put the two back sides together like a sandwich, just like that. Line them up. And we are going to crochet these together, but we are going to crochet around wire next. So once you have both of these done, okay, both pieces done, this is one of the ears, okay, and we're going to make an edge. So I'm just going to show you how to make one of these ears, and then you can make the other one exactly the same. So if you want to, you can make another blue one like this, and then two of these tan colored ones. So you'll have two sets, the two ears, okay? So what I'm going to do next, once you're at this point and you have, you're ready to attach the front and back, we're gonna just lay that down here real quick. I'm gonna get a few supplies and I'll be right back. Alright, so I decided actually before attaching the front and backs of your ears, we are actually going to sew on some beads. Now this part is optional, so what I'm going to do is just take the colored part of the ear and we're going to actually sew on some beads to bedazzle it a little bit. But like I said, this is optional, so if you want to just have plain ears, you can fast forward this video. But what I'm going to grab here is some transparent thread. So I'm going to use this for sewing, and then I have a sewing needle as well to sew with, and I actually yarned my needle already with the transparent thread. I know it's very difficult to see because it is transparent, but you can see it here a little bit on my finger. So it's a transparent thread that we are going to use. So I just threaded my needle, and then I tied a couple knots at the end here of the thread right there. So I know it's very difficult to see, but because this is thin thread, and I know you're trying to focus, but it is very difficult. And my hands are dry. There, so you can see the little knot right there. So I just did a few slip knots and just kept pulling through. So if you need to learn how to, thread a needle, you can find different videos online to do so. But there is thread on my needle here already. So what we're going to do is grab a few beads, and I won't make you watch me do the whole thing, but what we're going to do is start from the back of our work and kind of just put them randomly wherever. You could make a design if you wanted to just line around the edge. That would be cool too, but I'm going to kind of do it random wherever I feel like putting them. So I'm just going to go from the bottom, from the bottom and working my way up. So what I'm going to do to attach this thread is pulling it through the back here, making sure it's secure like that, just going back in. And then I'm going to do that one more time, coming back out. And that way I feel like it is secure and it's not going to unravel or come out anywhere. Awesome. Now I'm just going to grab a bead. And you can use any type of beads that you want. I'm just going to use these just random gold and rhinestone and colored beads for this project. So I'm just going to pull this bead through, or put it on my needle there, and then go all the way through, and then just go back in to the ear right here, right next to it, and then just go over to where I want the next bead to go. So probably right about here, just in, about ½ an inch away from each other. And then that one's just going to securely get on here. There we go. Oops, I'm going to turn it. There we go. So it looks good. Okay, cool. Then we're going to grab another bead, and I'm just going to continue doing this. So I'm just going to put a different bead, different colored bead on here all the way. And then I'm going to choose the next spot, so I'm going to go back into the ear and then come back out where I want the next bead to come. So right about there, and then just pull. So then that one gets secure. Okay. And this is something you should take your time with and make sure that your beads look, you know, good. And there we go. Just pull tight. Not too tight though, so that it like pulls everything. Then grab another bead and stick that on your needle. And then put it all the way through. Okay, and then go back into your work and go over to where you want the next bead to go. Okay, and I'm just putting mine random, but like I said, you can make a pattern or you can just go around the edge or make it look good. That's, you know, creator's choice. So really it's up to you where you want to, what you want to do with your beads. And like I said, this is also optional, so you don't have to do anything with your beads if you don't want to. You don't have to have beads. But I'm just going to add a bunch of beads to this, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to fasten off and tie in some ends. But I'm just going to add a bunch of beads, and once I have them all added, I'll be back. Alright, cool. So now I just have all my beads attached and I'm happy with how they look. So you want to end on the inside or the back side of this ear. And then what we're going to do, I know it's very difficult to see this thread, so I'm going to try to walk you through it. We're just going to go under a couple of the stitches. Okay, just like that. And then keep your finger in the loop and then come back through the loop with your needle and then pull tight. And that ties a knot, and you can do that you know, 2 or 3 times on your thread. And again, I know it's very difficult to see this thread because it is transparent thread, so I'm just going to walk you through how to do that. Just go through, hold your finger in the loop. There we are. Even it's difficult for me to see it without anything, so there we go, and then come back through the loop and pull tight. And then it just ties a knot. And then what you can do is go underneath a few of the stitches, just like, I don't know, 5-6 stitches with your needle, and pull it through to the inside of the stitches. And then you can just cut your thread short. But that's the inside, so it doesn't really matter if you have some like hanging out at all. You can kind of see there's some hanging out a little bit right there. But it's on the inside, so you won't see it at all. So there is the outside of the ear. So now at this point, once you have your beads on, if that's the route you went, we are going to attach the two, front and back. So remember how I said this outside has to be facing outside. Obviously the beads are on this side too, so that shows you that that's the outside. And then on this ear here, you can see I was showing you earlier the side V's. Those are that's the outside. So this is the inside. So we want both the inside and the inside to be facing each other. Okay, and we are going to line everything up, and then we're going to attach these pieces. So what we're going to do is crochet having the side with the beads facing you. And I'm going to grab some of this tan yarn and my crochet hook. Let me get all my supplies out of the way because I was sewing here. And we're going to go into this first stitch right here on this ear, and then on this first stitch on the back ear right there. Okay, so both layers. And what we're going to do is hook on this yarn, pull it through. And I know I wasn't able to show you the stem in the intro of this video, so here is what the stem looks like, and this is what we're using. I call it stem because these are actually floral stems. It's just a really long wire here. I'm bending it in half. I just got these at the craft store, and they are about 14 inches long, okay? And you want to use these for around the edge of your ear. So we're going to crochet around this, around the edge of the ear, so that it is bendy later and you can kind of mold it to how you want. If you want a flipped ear or if you want it to just stand straight up, using wire in your crochet is very helpful, especially for this type of thing, for headbands and things. So what we're going to do with these stems, or you can cut a piece of wire, like this type of floral wire. You can cut a 14-inch piece of that too and use that. That's totally fine. I just find that these stems though, they're laced in like a fabric type of material, and they're not pokey or anything, and they're a little bit thicker of a wire, so I find it to be easier to use this stem type of wire for the edging around the thing. So you can see here's the edge. It's like a thicker wire, and then there's this wrapped around it, this thread. So what we're going to do is take about 2 or 3 inches in and just bend it, just like this. And then what we're going to do is grab this ear, and we're going to stick this to the inside until the bend. Okay, just set it inside. It'll probably get caught on some stitches there. Okay, and this takes a little bit of coordination, but I've made a few of these now, so I'm kind of used to it. But for your first time, just hold this wire along this edge, hold your 2 pieces together, and then hold your yarn. Okay, so I'm pinching everything with this, using my yarn around this finger here, and just holding everything, okay, like that. And I have this in my hand here. So now, let's pull this all tight so we are ready to go. We are going to crochet, single crochet around this whole piece. So let's chain 1 to attach everything. Okay, and at first it's going to get a little sloppy, but then we'll fix it all. Okay, pull your thread, there we go. Single crochet into that first stitch, so go into that first stitch right there that we just attached to, and then into the back layer there. And we're working around the wire, so put that in there, and then yarn over and pull through everything, and then yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook, and there's a single crochet. So you have to finagle this a little bit just to keep it all lined up, and the wire can have a mind of its own sometimes. So we'll have to keep that in mind there. So now going into the next stitch here on this front piece, going into the next stitch on the back piece, making sure the wire is in there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay. And then this is on the inside here. So that little piece of wire you won't see at all, but it's on the inside. Okay. Then going into the next stitch and this next stitch, make sure you go through both layers, working over the wire, and just single crochet. Okay, and single crochet. Okay. And you know what, I actually have a better idea. I mean, if you want to continue this way, you totally can, but I think I'm going to take back these 4 stitches here and show you a really cool idea. If you want to make a little extra detail, you can work in the back loops, which is a fun way to do it too. So going into this back loop here, and usually, you know, we work in both loops, but if you look here, this is the front loop, front loop, front loop. Okay, the back loop is the one that's furthest away from you, right here, right here, right here. Okay, that way there'd be like a ridge, a line around here that could give a little bit of an extra detail. So what we're going to do actually, I'm going to go through this back loop, and then on this back piece, I'm going to go through this loop here. And that looks like a front loop because it is closer to you, but that's actually a back loop considered on that piece. Okay, because usually we go through both loops, but we're just going to go through, there we go, back loops. Okay, and on this stitch right here, I know my wire is in the way because I'm going to work over the top of that too. Back loop and back loop. Okay, so I think I'm going to do that instead. So I'm going to attach my yarn, so going into this first stitch in the back loop, and this stitch right here in the back loop. Okay, making sure my wire is attached. Going to hook on my yarn. Oopsie. Come on. There we go. Pull that through. Chain up 1. And then single crochet in there. So go in, yarn over. Whoops. Gotta make sure that wire just has a mind of its own. Ah, there we go. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. So like I said though earlier, is that, you know, right now it kind of is going to look sloppy, especially with this wire here, but once you crochet over the top of it and hide it, it will straighten out and everything will look good. So going into the back loop of this one, and then the back loop of this back one here, getting all my stragglers out of the way, and making sure the wire is in there, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through too. Going into the next and the next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through too. Next and next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through too. So there we are on a roll now, going to single crochet across, working in those back loops. So this back loop here, and then this back loop here, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through too. Okay, and we're just going to work around this entire ear. And with that wire being in there, you're going to have to kind of just maneuver everything, kind of shape it the way you want it to be, because it can, you know, stretch out or get, you know, close together, bend different ways. Just make sure all your stitches are lined up and you are going in the correct stitches so you don't skip any or have any holes. And just like that. And you can see here is where the line is, so it kind of separates this front piece to this back piece here. I just like that little extra detail there. So that's what I'm going to do around this whole piece here, is just single crochet in working in the back loops, and even through that chain one space, just work in that back loop and the back loop there, and just going all the way, making your single crochets in each stitch around and working around this wire. So I'm just going to do that all the way across, or all the way around this piece, and when I'm going to go around here all the way to here, and when I get back to this point I'll meet you up, because we are still going to stick a wire into the inside and then we're going to close this end here. So I'm going to do all that. I'm just going to, you know, single crochet around here, and I'll meet you up when I get to this point right here. Alright, so I just finished single crocheting around the whole edge of this piece, so this is kind of what it looks like right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull up this loop here, because we are still going to crochet along this edge, but I have to do a few things. You can see that the shape is not typical how you would want an ear shape, so we're going to just kind of stretch it out and shape it how we like it. I'm going to point the top and then kind of just pull it out, stretch it out. Okay, and once you're happy with how it looks, you can take the other edge, actually take these little strands and kind of just shove them in the loose ends that don't belong here. Actually, I'm going to cut this one short and then shove it inside there. I know I said that was for sewing later, but we're actually going to use the other strand for sewing later. Okay, so we're just going to do that. And then we have this piece here. And I have a piece of little pliers here, but you can just use your fingers if you want to, and just kind of bend it in toward the inside of the ear. Unless you have a needle nose plier, they work pretty well. So I'm just kind of bending this edge up into the ear. Whoopsie. You don't want it coming out stitches though. So make sure that you shape it nicely in the inside there. There we go. And you don't want anything poking out or hurting anybody either, so just make sure that you keep those hidden inside. Then once you have that all inside, I'm also going to shove a piece of wire from this type of wire inside as well. So I have this floral wire here on this roll, and I'm just going to unravel a little bit of it and then bend it in half, about 14 inches or so. Okay, and shove that up inside. Just bend it in half there and then just shove it inside. There we go. Good. Okay, and then we want this long strand about 5 to 6 inches hanging out, okay, because we are going to wrap that around the headband later. So just make sure that that stays hanging out, and what we'll do is separate those two just like that. Okay, then we're going to just hold them there for now. I'm going to insert my hook back into this loop. Okay, and then we're just going to crochet along this edge, working around these 2 pieces of wire. Okay, that's just for peace of mind. If you don't want to use that wire, you don't have to, but just to make sure that the ears are not floppy, you know, or fall down on the headband, you can use those. Now what I'm doing is just finding a spot where my needle, or where my hook fits, right in here, and just making a single crochet along this edge. But this bottom edge is pretty much going to be hidden because we are going to be using fun fur later to kind of cover this bottom edge as well. So it doesn't have to be super perfect, but just single crochet along this edge just to close the bottom of the ear. Just like that. And then to fasten this off, we are going to slip stitch to this first stitch right here. So go into your first stitch that you started off with on this edge and try to fit your hook in there. Yarn over, pull through, and then pull through that loop on your hook. Chain 1. And earlier I said to cut your yarn long on that back piece for sewing, but you can actually cut this piece long for sewing and then pull that all the way through and pull tight, because we'll actually use that instead. And there you have one ear. So now what you need to do is just rewind this and make another one exactly the same. So you have 2 ears. Well, obviously they're not exactly the same. We gotta stretch them out and make them look pretty close to being identical. So, and like I said, my beads on both of them are kind of random, but it's fun and super sparkly, so I really like that. So we have the wires hanging out of both of them, the long strand for sewing later. So once you have both of your ears finished, we're going to set them both aside and grab the headband. I just bought these like dollar store headbands. And we are going to crochet around the edge, or around this headband first, and then we'll attach the ears to the headband later. So let's set aside those, and I'm going to grab some more yarn and we will crochet around this headband. Alright, what we're going to do is start off with a slip knot on our yarn. So put your short end over the long end, then fold that down, and then pull this through and pull tight. And there's your slip knot. Insert your hook in there, just like that. Okay, then what we're going to do is grab the headband, and we're going to start on one end, either end, doesn't matter. I'm just going to start on this end, and we're going to go underneath, so I'm going to have the yarn over the top of it, go underneath, and then wrap the yarn, and then pull it through that loop on your hook. And that kind of just attaches this to the headband, okay, right about here. Then we're just going to go underneath the headband. I know it's going to be finicky at first, but just go underneath the headband, then yarn over and pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. And there is a single crochet, okay. I'm going to slide this down closer to the edge, but you don't want to be too close to the edge because that can slide off and then you'll have problems. So what we're going to do is just kind of go close to the edge, go underneath the headband, yarn over, pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. This is very similar. I have a video on how to crochet around headphones and the headphone like cord. And you can do the same thing like that, just around this headband. So going underneath, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. Just like that. So now to keep this from slipping here, I'm going to do a few more stitches. And you can also see I'm working over the top of this so I don't have to sew it in later. But we want all the stitches to go the same way. So we're just going to do this all the way around. I don't have enough or a specific stitch count on this. It's kind of just like do as many single crochets till you feel comfortable with it being fully covered. You know, that could be 100, that could be 200 stitches. You know, I don't really know a specific, and I wasn't counting. So I'm just crocheting over the top of my loose end here, and then I'm going down here like this, making sure all the stitches are on one end, Okay, and without it slipping here, what I'm going to actually do is put tacky glue. You can put hot glue or tacky glue. So what I'm going to do here is grab my tacky glue. Okay, and this is white, but it dries clear. So I'm going to just put it on the edge of this and around. Okay, and you can let it, you know, dry, or you can crochet while it's wet. Just don't try to get glue on you. But I'm just doing this little tip of the, I'm kind of covering it, there we go. I'm just doing this little section here. Okay, and actually I was thinking of also sliding this up and then doing a little line on the inside, just like that. And then we're going to slide this down. So what I'm going to do is take my needle. You don't have to, you just use your fingers, but I'm just going to kind of pull this down the way. Oh, there we go. Okay, and you can use a toothpick or something, kind of get it on the edge of the yarn there. And then later on you'll be able to clean it up. So it looks white right now, but you'll be able to let it dry and it will dry clear. And I actually have one headband done over here. So I did the same exact thing, just not letting it get, but you can see here I have the same exact thing on this one, and you can see that it dried clear on those ends right there. So this is another headband I had done the other day, and it was all white and everything, and it got on there, and then it's clear now. So I have crocheted around this one here, and you can see I crocheted around the whole piece. You can see all my ears and everything is attached, but we want all the stitches to go on the same side and just continue with this project here. So what we're going to do now is just single crochet, trying not to get glue on me here. So we're going to go underneath, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so just do that all the way across this whole headband, and I'm just going to take my time and do this whole all the way around. I'll meet you up when we're ready to fasten off on this end and glue that end up, and then we'll attach the ears. Alright, once you get really close to this edge here, you want to make sure not to slip off of this side, so I'm just going to fasten this side off, and actually this side is starting to kind of dry and get tacky, so it is tacky glue, so it's drying pretty fast actually. So we're just going to chain 1 here, and then cut this yarn. Ooh, where are my good scissors? There they are. Got all kinds of supplies around here. Okay, just be careful with your scissors. Just cut that and then pull that through and then pull tight, just like that. Now we're going to just grab our yarn needle and sew in this end right about here. Just yarn a needle. Okay, this is a bigger eye hook, or I'm sorry, a bigger eye needle. So we're just going to go into the inside right here underneath about 5-6 stitches, and then just pull that through just like that. And just make sure all your stitches are on the same side. Okay, nothing's twisted, everything is on the same side. Okay, and now what we're going to do is glue this end just like this end. So I'm going to grab that tacky glue here and just go around. Oops, let me get this. There we go. Okay, I'm just doing this little tip area here and then going on the inside here just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the other side, take my needle and kind of just pull these last stitches out just so I don't get glue on my hands. But if you get glue on you, it dries and you can just peel it off. Okay, and just make sure to get some glue on the edge of your crochet work. Just like that. Fabulous. Alright, now we are going to cut these little strands that are extra. Oopsie. Just like this. And up here, I've got this one right here. Awesome. Now we just want to make a little tuft of fur, so I'm going to set this aside and let it dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to grab my fun fur here. Okay, and again, this part is going to be a little difficult for you to see. Just follow along with the written pattern portion to make the tuft of fur. It's very simple though. We're going to start with a slip knot. You know how to do that, at least already. So we're just going to start with a slip knot. Oh, wrong hook. What is up with me? There we go. Using the same eye hook, we are going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through, 1 and 2. And in that second chain from the hook, I know it's very difficult to see, but it's right here, we are going to put 10 single crochets. So go into that second chain and just make 10 single crochets into that. Oopsie. It's kind of difficult to see it, so it'll be difficult to make them, but go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Go back in, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2. And it's going to get quite hairy. Quite hairy up in here, but it's going to look super fabulous and super cute with the tuft of fur. So I'm just putting 10 single crochets in the very same exact spot. And your fur is going to loop up and not look super furry, but we will be kind of combing it out with our fingers a little later there. And if you want to do, you know, less or more, you can do less or more single crochets. I'm doing 10 in total. And I might have done more. So now, once you have your single crochets all the way around, you can kind of try to feel around or find your first stitch. Mine's right here. And I know it's very difficult for you guys to see this, but just kind of find a spot and just put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. And again, it's going to be difficult for you to see, so you can kind of just feel around. We're just trying to make a circle and a little tuft of fur. I did try to take this yarn and actually wrap it around those the stitches in this headband. I tried to take this headband and wrap this yarn just with a sewing needle and just kind of wrap and wrap and wrap around, and it just didn't look right to me. It just didn't give that big tuft of, you know, cottontail type of look to it of a bunny. So I actually nixed that and just, you know, cut that out and tried to make a little circle instead, and that's what I'm doing here. So once you feel that your circle is big enough, I think I'm going to do a little bit more here. You want it just to be a small little tuft of fur, just to put between the ears and kind of hide the base of the ears, just like this. Okay, so we're just going to go into the next stitch. Once you're happy with the result, we're going to yarn over, pull through, and pull through. And on this piece, we are going to cut our yarn long for sewing. I mean, not too long, but long enough. And just pull it all the way through and pull tight. So we are going to use that for sewing. Now what I'm doing here is kind of combing and picking at the fur to kind of make it more furry. Because some of the fur just kind of gets looped in and hidden. And you want it to be like super furry. Cute! It's like a little puffball. Awesome. So now you want to kind of position this on the side where you want your ears to be. So grab your 2 ears that you have finished. Okay. And I'm going to position them on the side. You can position them on the top and top like this, or on top like this. But I'm going to do it kind of like a Snapchat filter where it's like kind of off to the side and super cute like this. Okay, and what we're going to do is take these wires and wrap them around the headband, but yeah, I think I might do that first actually. I'm going to wrap them, but I'm not going to sew them because we are going to move them apart and put this underneath in the middle right here. So it's going to be like this. Aw, cute. Alright, so we're going to do an assembly here, assembly step, sewing and attaching. So what I'm going to do first is attach my ears, wires only. So to do that, we are going to pull them together, okay, wrap them around. Don't pull too tight, but just wrap them really tightly around your headband. Okay, and once you are completely satisfied with the way they are wrapped, see how they kind of flop down. When you sew it on with this yarn and go around, round, you won't actually have them floppy, so they won't be flopping. But I'm just going to leave this, I'm actually going to cut it a little bit shorter, but I am going to leave a little bit just in case for later. So you always want a little extra of everything just to be safe, you know? So I'm just going to set that down. I'm going to grab the other ear. Okay, make sure it's in there completely. And we're going to set this next to it, next to the other ear, right about there. Kind of hold them in place. And we're going to wrap this one as well. Just don't wrap them around the strand that we need for sewing, so just be careful that that is out of the way. Okay, and I know you can see the green right now, but it will be covered later, so no worries about that. So there, those wires are wrapped around your headband. Okay, I'm kind of just holding them up because these need to be sewn down still. So now I'm going to add the tuft of fur, and there's really no right or wrong way to do this. You can, attach whatever piece first you like, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to attach this tuft of fur next. So I'm just going to yarn a needle with this fun fur. This is so cute. This is going to be super cute. I'm super excited. Okay, and just to position this between the two ears underneath them so you can separate them and kind of just position it. And I'm just going to go around into the stitches just like that. I don't know if you can see that very well, but just kind of sewing it into the stitches of the headband. Okay, and just going underneath some of these stitches here. I know you can't see, but I'm feeling around for it where it needs to go. Perfect. Then we're going to go in the back and tie a knot. So we're just going to go around and then through a loop. Oops. There it is. Okay, and I'll do that one more time. There we go. And then I'm just going to cut this short. Where are my scissors? Here we go. But not too short. Just like that. And you can't even tell, and it's hanging in the back there. So now we can sew on. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? It's just a cute little tuft of fur, but it's a cute little detail. So now we're just going to grab that same yarn needle and we are going to sew down these ears, okay? And that way, when we sew down these ears, we're going to cover that green wire that we wrapped around the headband. You can't really even tell, but you can kind of see it right there. So I'm moving this little tuft of fur aside, moving this here, and we're just going to kind of whip stitch. So go into the headband and then up into the ear. Then into the headband. And just making sure nothing gets tangled and nothing gets out of place there. Okay, then up into the ear. Okay, and at this point, since I'm near where the wire is, I'm going to actually wrap this a few times around here. And I'm going to cut this wire short. And you can actually take this wire and kind of just shove it into the ear so that nobody gets poked or anything, you know, the wire. You could use pipe cleaner too if you wanted to. I never really actually thought of that until now, but that's a good idea too. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're sewing this, but you don't want to sew this so that the ears are going to flop backwards. So make sure that you just sew this so that the ears stand up. And I know I'm doing this pretty quickly for the camera, but you can take your time and make sure that these ears do stand up, because I know they can get top heavy and they are pretty large. So just make sure that you have enough weight on it to, you know, be able to stand up. Sorry, I'm like trying to concentrate and talk at the same time. So I'm just going to sew this on, and I'll meet you up when I'm about to fasten these off. Alright, so I just sewed on this ear, but I just was sewing on this ear too, just across the bottom, across here. And when you're ready to fasten off, we're just going to go under a few stitches. And just like I showed you earlier, just go through the loop and then pull tight. And you can do that once or twice. And then you can just sew in this end in between the two layers of the ears, because nobody can see the inside there. And you know what, I also had a suggestion that if you wanted to, you could stuff your ears too, but that could get the weight to be a little too heavy, and then your ears could be, you know, floppy. So just make sure that you do your wire a little bit differently and maneuver this around. Make sure that it looks really good and isn't too floppy, and you can stand it up and hold it up and kind of shake it around, make sure that they're not floppy, and they look good. And I mean, they'll be a little bit floppy because they are kind of heavy with the wire inside, but for the most part they stay up, and you just have to adjust them a few times here. And there's a little puff there. How cute. There it is. How cute is that? Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make these ears. You can make them in all different colors, make matching sets, and you can, oops, there we go. We can make them for the whole family if you want to. They're just really fun and cute for spring, and just fun for, you know, photo props, or just for, you know, going for your teachers at school or something like that. So, and obviously for Easter, but yeah, I hope you all have a great Easter weekend, great Easter, great holiday, great weekend ahead, and great spring season. So thanks for watching, everyone. I can't wait to see pictures. If you do take pictures of your Easter time and take pictures of these headbands when you make them, you can share your photos on Facebook and Instagram. Hashtag YARNutopia on Instagram so I can see your work. And make sure to check out all those links in the description of this video. Big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn. Big thank you to my dad back there for filming, editing, and doing this tutorial with us. And big thank you to you for watching. Until next time, happy hooking!